1X Developer Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the 1X Developer Podcast, where Collin has a microphone that works.
Brendan also has a microphone that works.
Yeah, you always do, though. So what I was saying is that I think the title of this episode that you clicked on probably is something like the greatest browser of all time, or the best browser on the internet.
Gee, bet.
Because I know exactly what it is.
You've come to a decision about the greatest browser?
So I think I have, I know what I want to recommend to people.
Cool.
But what I've learned is that there really is no blanket, best. There's what you want and what works for you. And I think I found what works for me, at least for the next couple of weeks before I switch to a new browser, because that's what I do.
So I spent some time on the Reddit browser subreddit for this, and people go deep on browsers, man. There's some browser nerds like you.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of drama and stuff around them. I mean, there's a lot of really strong opinions. So for me, what I was looking for a browser for myself is three things. I wanted a browser that was Chromium based and privacy centric a little bit, at least. And then something that didn't have any ethical concerns, nothing that made me feel icky to use. And also another one was performance, but I'll go ahead and just say really in all my testing, the performance is pretty much the same on all the major browsers.
That was kind of my experience too. I tried a bunch for prepping for this episode, and I didn't find any in my test drives that performed really poorly or used a ton of RAM or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I used browserbench.org speedometer 3.0. Did you use this?
No. Oh, I was just going off vibes.
That too. I mean, I feel like your results are the same because the benchmarks they're pretty much the same. But also in my usage, they seem pretty much the same. I used that a lot, and then I used coveryourtracks.eff.org. So speedometer, it opens a bunch of stuff in a tab and gauges the benchmarks the speed of loading stuff. Mm-hmm. And then coveryourtracks.eff.org is it gives you a rating on the privacy of your browser. Tracker blocking and that sort of stuff.
Oh, cool.
So those were both things that I used. I don't really know if those are realistic benchmarks or whatever, but that's something I use to gauge things.
I think those are three really good criteria. I kind of think we should go through those. So let's talk about why Chromium based. I gotta be honest, I feel like it's been a long time since I've really found an issue so I use Firefox normally at home, Chrome normally at work, and that's mostly because at least back in the old days, I felt like the Chrome dev tools were way, way better than the Firefox ones. But yeah, it's been a long time since I really ran into something where Gecko had an issue rendering.
You're right. But there are some web apps that'll at least claim that they only support Chrome, or it's just when you're on a Chromium-based thing, you have a peace of mind. But also, I just remembered there's another criteria, and this is another weird thing about me. I really like using the same thing on every platform. You mentioned you use Chrome at work and Firefox at home, and I did that for a while. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I don't know, something about that bugs me. I like having the same tool at home on my Linux machine and at work on my Mac. So that was a big thing too, because I didn't look at Arc or I think there's another Mac specific. Well, I mean Safari, obviously.
Orion, the Kaji.
Orion, yeah. I use Orion on my phone actually. I feel like phones don't count. That's different enough that I can use a different thing on my phone.
Wait, so I have a question about that. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but Do you like having the same thing on all your platforms because you're using like the either the Google or the Mozilla profile syncing so that you have like all the same bookmarks and all that stuff? Is that what we're talking about, or is it just
No,
like
I usually don't
the
use those.
simplicity of the UI?
Yeah, I just like having the same UI. I like having the same stuff everywhere. I think that's something I started doing with I think when I started becoming like a NeoVim guy, and I had this config that I can just put on anything, and it's the same on every computer. I think
Oh,
that's when I was like, yeah, no, I don't use different things on different machines. I just use the same thing everywhere I go.
that is slick to be able to just like have your environment that you're used to on any platform.
Yeah, and so that ties into the Chromium thing also because as a web developer, I want to use Chromium because that's pretty much what my users are using.
Yeah.
Um,
I really didn't realize. I took a look at the browser share stuff, which I haven't looked at in a long time. Like, it's like Chrome is 70%, and then like
oh yeah,
Safari is 20% because there's probably that's just Mac people, and I guess they're kind of forced into, Safari WebKit stuff. But like, and then it's just everyone else is kind of like fighting for that bottom 5 or 10% or whatever.
yeah. No, so the thing I was looking at, if we go to desktop only, yeah, desktop browser market share was 64.8% Chrome, 13.95% Safari, which I think is that actually kind of surprised me. I didn't realize there was that many people using Safari on desktops. I thought that was mostly like iPhone. Um, but then, and this is where things get weird, like 8.85% is using Edge, which is a Chromium based browser.
Right.
And then 7.58% on Firefox, which is actually pretty high also. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I can't speak on like, I'm not like a corporate lawyer or whatever, but I look at that market share and I'm like, that doesn't seem healthy,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't seem like a good spread. And I think that's the main reason why there are people who say, yeah, don't use Chromium at all. Because we've entered this era of Google decides what the internet looks like because they have the browser everyone uses.
Yep.
And that that's probably, I guess that's our first like controversy we can get into.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really funny that when you talk about these conversations about like who's deciding what the standards are and stuff like that. I mean, we talk about um, Chromium and we talk about Gecko or whatever on the Firefox side, but like I mean, it's really really imbalanced. It's Firefox really just does not have much going for it, and like all the Firefox spin-offs at this point. Um, I really thought they were a much bigger market share, but they're not.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think for most people, I would recommend using Firefox. I mean, like you said, as a user, I rarely, if ever, see an issue. And, if you're not a web developer, you're not really worried about, like, am I seeing what the average user is seeing or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, what browsers did you look at
So
in your
I got a
research?
list. I looked at Vivaldi. I looked at Orion. I looked at Florp.
Oh, yeah.
I sort of looked at Arc. You need a login account. I didn't create an account to log in or anything. I looked at Pale Moon, which is a fork of an older Firefox, like an older version of Gecko. I took a look at Servo, and those are the big ones. I was trying to test Ladybird, but got to build from source at this point, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
Make it work.
So, I mean, I looked at mostly, my list is pretty similar to yours. Um, let's just go that route. Let's just go down the list, dude.
Yeah.
So the first thing I looked at, well, I looked at Chromium and ungoogled Chromium, uh, which, I mean, I don't really know the specifics of the differences, but ungoogled ungoogled Chromium is really just a build of Chromium, just a fork with like all the Google stuff taken out. So uh, it's the idea being that it's not phoning home to Google all the time that like the regular Chromium would do. Let me say, ungoogled Chromium out of the box is basically unusable.
Oh, really?
I'll go that far and say that. So the main thing is, the default search engine on Chromium is Google, right? On ungoogled Chromium, the default search engine is nothing. So if you open ungoogled Chromium and you type in, I think I uninstalled it actually. If you type in, something into the address bar that isn't a URL, it will like give you some sort of error. Like, I don't remember if it would try to search and then not be able to, or if it would say like I don't know what that is. But so out of the box, you have to go set your your default search engine before you can search anything, unless you just go to www.duckduckgo.com or whatever.
It's kind of funny. I mean, that doesn't sound like the end of the world, but you kind of know that you kind of have to know that you have to do it, right?
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but I guess that's something else I value a little bit is up and going type of experience, right? Like I want to be able to set something up and just get going. The second thing about ungoogled Chromium is that by default you cannot install Chrome extensions, and you have to. I found guides on how to do this, and maybe it was just me having a moment. Maybe it's a Linux thing. I don't know. I tried to get to like install uBlock Origin and whatever Bitwarden and whatever else extensions. I could not get the extensions installed on ungoogled Chromium.
Huh.
Like I couldn't get them to work. So to me, it was like, yeah, this is a no-go. Like I can't install my extensions. Like you said, the search engine thing isn't the end of the world because I use Kagi anyway. But Kagi, the best way to set up Kagi as your default search engine is to install their extension, and that'll do that for you. And I couldn't do that. So yeah, on Google Chromium, you are the weakest link. You're not the weakest link. You're not, but you're not going to cut it. You're not good enough.
What's an example of a browser that uses ungoogled Chromium? Did you have one of those?
So I don't know if there are any that are built off of ungoogled Chromium directly, because the other Chromium-based browsers I looked at are all based off of Chromium, and I think they also ungoogle, but they're not branched off of the ungoogled Chromium project.
Oh,
and I think that's the thing. I don't think ungoogled Chromium is meant to be like user centric. It's literally just, here is Chromium. We took out the Google stuff. Take it or leave it.
You're going to take this and build a browser on top of it, probably.
I think that's the idea. Or like, I think a lot of people use it for like testing stuff, or like for like automated testing and that kind of thing. Like here's a lightweight browser that doesn't have any other weird stuff. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, I've heard people say that they use it as their main browser, and it's not for me.
Yeah, good. That extension part's really surprising to me. I don't know.
You're supposed to be able to do it. So again, maybe if I would have spent more time with it, but that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to look at something else. So the next thing I looked at was Brave.
Yeah.
Which I'd been using as my main browser for a little bit, actually, before doing this.
I didn't try it for this test, but I've used Brave in the past. It was totally usable, and I really liked the ethos of it. I really loved that, like I was gonna ask you for an explainer on these BAT tokens or whatever, because I really still don't totally get it. But like, I do think that Brave is one of the few places where someone is genuinely making an attempt to do something different, right? Like this is an actual attempt to reimagine the attention economy without, like, if we're not going to have ads, what are we going to have instead? Yeah. And I think that Brave, whether it succeeds or fails, I think it's a genuine attempt to do something different.
Yeah, and I think Brave is like, so it goes back to your values as a user, right? Like, it's Chromium based. It's very privacy centric. It did super great on all the privacy benchmarks. And also, something about that is, if you look up like articles or just like benchmarks that other people have done, like if you just search, browsers, privacy benchmarks or whatever, a lot of them will say in the fine print that it's with default settings, which is like, okay, that's not even fair really. But with default settings, Brave is like straight out of the box, like super private, blocker tracking, like tracker blocking, ad blocking, all this stuff. So, and I agree. They do like they have an interesting approach to things. So Brave on the surface level is like, yeah, this is the best thing. This is what I recommend to everybody. The thing is that third criteria, the ethical thing, that was where it started to break down for me.
Hmm.
And this is kind of why I started thinking like some of the stuff you read into it and you're like, okay, am I making a bigger deal out of this than it is? Am I being weird? Am I too deep? But I don't know. You can tell me. So some people are against the BAT token thing just on principle of like they just don't like crypto. That's not me. I think cryptocurrencies are fine if that's what you want to do. Uh, the thing is, and there's a few like there's a few controversies around Brave really. Um, so I guess I'll start with so I haven't looked into it a lot, but the BAT token stuff and the crypto wallet built-in stuff. First of all, it's all opt-in. You can turn it all off. You can use Brave 100% without ever doing a BAT token, whatever, anything.
Okay.
But the concept is that if you opt into this rewards program, Brave will serve you ads, and when you view ads, you get like tokens for it. You get little credits for it, and then you can use those tokens. I think you can actually just cash them out for yourself. But the idea is that you really would ideally donate them to websites that are part of this like affiliate program. I don't know if that's the right term, but like part of this program. So you can give the ad revenue to the web pages, the websites that you like.
Right. You get to choose a little bit where your ad revenue money goes.
Yeah. And so
you keep it in this ecosystem, ideally.
Yeah. And so at first, when I first heard this, I thought that was like a really cool idea, right? Because, the internet, the way it is like, no matter what content you make, no matter what you run, the more clicks you get, the more money you make, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of addresses that, where it's like, okay, maybe you get the most clicks, but people don't give you the tokens because they don't like what you're doing. The thing is, where it starts to get weird is you got to consider, these web pages are being, they're running ads, and those ads are actually being replaced by Brave's ads, right? Those ads are blocked, and then Brave shows you their own ads. So that kind of like destroys the economy as it exists.
Yeah.
And then, like basically, if you take part in this Brave ad program, like why would anyone ever advertise on your platform? So that's part of it. Is that conceptually the whole thing is just kind of weird, but there's more to it than that. Even I mean,
Wait, so I was going to ask you that. So Brave is injecting these ads into the content. It's like finding, what is it like? It identifies an ad on a web page and just injects its own.
So no, I don't think it does that. I think it's just it blocks ads. It blocks all those ads, and then the ads that it serves you, I think, are mostly just in the new tab page.
Oh, okay.
And part of it, another part of this is like, oh, and I turned it all off. But another part of this is that the ads that Brave serves you a lot of them are like really sketchy, like, crypto things and like weird, like, I mean, it kind of comes down to like, I just don't want to see ads at all, right? And you can turn them off, but I don't know, the whole thing gets weird. And I mean, to play devil's advocate a little bit, I mean, this is probably better than just turning off all ads altogether, because that's what I do, right? I just block all the ads, and I don't give money to any creator. So I guess this is better than that. But that's just one part of this. And there's this whole like hit piece that was written by a person named Corbin Davenport. I guess I'll go ahead and just share it. And another, he also wrote another article about another browser too. About Opera as well. And he wrote this like scathing hit piece that is all about just like why Brave sucks and you should not use it. The first part is another controversy here, which is about Brendan Eich, who was basically removed from. He stepped down from Mozilla over some controversy about some political donations he was making. He is now the head of Brave. So some people would argue that by association you should not use Brave for that reason.
On this podcast, we call him the other Brendan.
The other Brendan, yeah. I mean, he gives Brendans everywhere a bad name. So I don't know that I don't know if we want to. We've we try not to get into politics on this show. I don't know. I feel like that's something where maybe am I thinking too much about this? $1,000 to a donation in 2008. I don't know. It's there. Okay.
I'll just say that however you might feel about that, I think that $1,000 to a political campaign is like dwarfed by any of the people who are involved at Google or at Apple or right. Like I know that we can kind of like focus this on one guy here, but I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to choose your browser based on like the people that are really involved in it. That's a really hard thing to do when it comes to, I don't know, who else works at Mozilla, who else works at Google,
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, like when it comes to privacy, at least, like a lot of what you're doing when you're choosing software is you are choosing who you trust to an extent, right? And so I think it matters. And I mean, you're right. Like when you look at like Google or Apple, it's like, what do you, I mean, it kind of reminds me of, some people say like, oh, don't buy, these clothing brands because they use, they use like sweatshops or whatever. But then it's like you start looking at it and all the clothes you can buy use sweatshops. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Just be naked? I don't know. But this is here. It's here. And I will say that the 1X Developer podcast supports the LGBT community. Can we say that?
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
So it's there. And then this next part was what I wanted to get into, that the ad experiments. Targeted ads. What did I want to talk about here? Brave said originally that it was aiming for at least 55% of the money to go to the publisher, with the eventual goal to giving 70% of the revenue to the publisher. The web browser would also receive a cut. Hang on. Brave started a 1,000 user trial of its advertising network in 2018. The program awarded Brave users with BAT based on how long they spent viewing ads and content, which would then be kept in a digital wallet or given to publishers as a sort of tipping system. That system hasn't significantly changed since then, but some of the ad formats are different now. Brave's website explains that the ads are served in search results in Brave Search, blah, blah, blah. BAT is a cryptocurrency. It doesn't reward users in a meaningful amount. And this is why I say it's a hit piece, right? Because there's like, okay, this whole section, you didn't really say anything. You're just like, you just sound mad. But
yeah,
there was another element in here I wanted to talk about. Okay, so yeah, there's some more things. Brave Browser promoted the FTX crypto exchange with a widget on the new tab page asking users to connect their FTX accounts. Here we go. I want to talk about this affiliate code thing. Brave was also caught up in a privacy scandal in 2020 when it was revealed that the browser was adding affiliate codes to some URLs typed into the address bar. For example, typing in Binance.us would add Brave's affiliate link to the end, allowing Brave software to collect revenue from signups or purchases.
Oh.
So think about that, right? I open my browser, I type in a URL I want to go to, and Brave says, "Oh, I affiliated. I brought them to you."
That's
weird. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
And this is like there's links for that part. That I looked into. That is real. An official blog post called that a mistake, and the functionality was later turned off. Okay.
It's a mistake because you got caught.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you know what's funny about Brave though is like something like that, if that were to happen in a different browser, it might be less of a scandal. But like when you stake your reputation on being the privacy centered, we're the most private. If you're interested in privacy and like up and up, taking the moral high ground, and then you do something like that, I think that's really, really damning.
And that's exactly the thing. I mean, that's why I bring it up, because if I just want to use the best browser, regardless of ethics or privacy, I'm just going to use Chrome. Like, let's be real, right? Like, and I think that's what I recommend. If you don't care about privacy and you don't care about the ethics of anything you use, I think you should use Chrome. It's the best one. It's the fastest one. It has the latest features. It's supported by like one of the biggest companies in the world. Just use Chrome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only reason I want to use something like Brave is because I believe in things like a healthy internet, because I believe in not being annihilated by ads, because I believe in this vision. And so then when you've got, it's like all of them added together, right? I don't think it's any one of those controversies that steers me away, but I think it's like the affiliate code thing, the crypto stuff, the ads, built-in ads that are like to sketchy websites, the other Brendan having weird political ideas. All of it kind of comes together to create this like, I don't know if I feel good about this.
Yeah, I can see that. I kind of agree with that. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. I sort of knew about his brief tenure as CEO of Mozilla and all that, but I agree that's a lot of kind of weird stuff. I think maybe just to like try to give them the benefit of the doubt, kind of like I was saying earlier, I do think Brave is trying to do something different, and maybe some of that stuff comes out of like just trying to like, I don't know, throw ideas at the wall and see what sticks. But I agree. I think that adds up to kind of just a whole situation that's like, I don't know if I really want to be involved in this.
Right. And I think, I mean, I agree. I think they're doing interesting things, and I think they're approaching something that is like, it's hard to just fix the internet,
Yeah.
But I feel like they have kind of like a half-baked idea on how to fix the internet, and I don't think it's the solution. And then I look at some of these other things and I wonder if they care about like a real solution.
What do you mean by that? What other things?
Well, I mean, I think the affiliate link thing makes me feel like that they're just trying to make money.
Oh, other things that Brave did. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
One last thing on Brave. I just found this this Hacker News comment by Gochi in 2023. He says, opt-in setting doesn't mean much here. This is in response to someone talking about Brave. Opt-in setting doesn't mean much here. While it's technically true the crypto stuff isn't enabled, it's constantly pushed to you with no option to remove all of that during installation. I'll walk you through it. Upon loading the browser on a fresh install, you are greeted with a new tab page pushing Brave rewards. This is true. With manipulative UX, manipulative is debatable. There is no button to disagree or remove the feature, only a button for start using rewards. You can hide it by clicking the three dots, which for most users they're never going to do, unfortunately. Looking at the address bar, there's a triangle up there with a badge. Hiding the new tab rewards card doesn't hide this triangle. Clicking on this does not show a remove feature option. Beside that, there's a sidebar option button and a wallet icon, again with a badge. Clicking on this only shows a learn more button. I can right-click both of these and finally see a hide option. Finally, all of that is hidden. Maybe I browse a page or so and then open a new tab. I'm shown an ad on the new tab screen. Right-clicking it shows no hide button, so I'll try the customize button. Here's where you have to scroll down and disable the show sponsored images option. All done, right? Okay, let's browse Reddit for a bit. There's where you see the tip button under every post. Right-clicking shows nothing about hiding it. So into the settings you have to go to finally remove the last bit of the feature and be prompted to relaunch the browser.
Wow.
Because, I mean, that's the defense that all the Brave guys say. Like, oh, it's optional. It's all optional. Oh, you turn it all off. It's all optional. And it's like, technically, yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff you got to turn off. It sounds like.
Right. I mean, if you just don't want to see ads, you can install Chrome and install uBlock Origin, or you could. Maybe soon you won't be able to. Right? Yeah.
Mine got disabled this week.
Yeah. You can use uBlock Origin Lite.
I wanted to talk about that because I haven't found a replacement yet. I didn't know what people were switching to. So
let's talk about. I mean, the only thing I know about is uBlock Origin Lite, which is V3 Manifest V3 compliant uBlock Origin. I don't think it's as good, but that's all I know of.
Do you understand that controversy? I don't really get why uBlock Origin is suddenly. I understand that Google Chrome or Google updated their this Manifest V2 V3 thing you're talking about. It's the format for plugins, right? For extensions.
Yeah. And that I don't really know much more than that. Is that they updated it and now certain things aren't allowed that uBlock Origin does that they can't do.
I only use a handful of extensions, and they're almost all about blocking ads. So I need to find something else there.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people recommending Brave because Brave has its own like built-in ad blocking. So if the ethical concerns don't turn you away, maybe that's what you do.
One other thing on Brave, if we have listeners who aren't familiar with it, I wanted to mention that like Brave is like 10 years old now. So they've been trying this BAT experiment for quite a while. It's not like a brand new thing.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how successful it is. Maybe we should find some stats on it, but my impression is that it has not reinvented the attention economy in the web.
Yeah, and I mean, every browser other than Chrome is fighting an uphill battle, so I don't know. Let's move on. I looked at Thorium, which is something I heard about a while ago. I'll make this quick. Thorium, the idea was that it was just really, really fast. And when it came out, that was the thing I heard online was people were like, Thorium is just this Chromium-based browser. It's Chromium, but super fast. At least right now, Chromium and all the other Chromium browsers have caught up. And Thorium's pretty much comparable. And like I was saying earlier, the performance of all these is about the same. So it kind of becomes like, okay, so what's the point of this?
Yeah. Also,
it had, by default, it did not have uBlock Origin installed. It had regular uBlock, which is, do you know about that controversy?
No.
So that was another thing. It was originally, there was a project called uBlock, which was just the ad blocking extension. And I don't know the whole thing, but I think it was two guys, and like one of them pretty much hostilely took over uBlock. And so the other guy split and made uBlock Origin. And it's the exact same thing. It's just a fork that's run by the guy who actually created it. So somehow like the project was basically stolen away from him. Oh. And so they say everyone's supposed to use uBlock Origin and not uBlock. This was like a whole thing that went on for a while.
Oh, weird. I was not familiar with that. When I went looking for privacy plugin settings, I've had the same ones for years. I don't even remember hearing about uBlock, the non-Origin version.
Let me see here. So yeah, Thorium has just uBlock installed. Just something I thought I'd point out. I'm looking at Reddit, like a summary that this is like 10 years ago. In a Wikipedia edit for uBlock, Chris removed all credits to Raymond. I think Raymond is the uBlock Origin guy, and added his name without any mention of the original author's contribution. Chris pledged a donation with overblown details on expenses like $25 per week for web hosting. I don't know what that's about. The activities of Chris since he took over the project are more business and advertisement oriented than development driven. So anyway, yeah. Then Raymond made uBlock Origin. So,
but this was mostly just a personal conflict or something. It wasn't related to like any technical decisions about the browser. This wasn't a fork.
Yeah.
To like change the technical underpinnings or something.
Yeah, I don't know why the guy did this, but that, yeah. I mean, I know that uBlock and uBlock Origin are functionally like identical.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but anyway, everyone says like just when you're installing, make sure you use uBlock Origin. Um, anyway, Thorium is lame. Moving on, there is Opera.
Yeah, I tried. Opera's been around for a million years. I tried it back in the day. I did not try it for this one, but it is Chromium Blink based these days, right?
Yep,
It's
I used
that's one of
Chromium.
the
I used
used to
Opera
have
as
it
my
too.
main browser for a while. Uh, so yeah,
Did you? Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was a time when Opera really had some features that were like kind of innovative and different.
Mhm.
And I know that when I've tried it in recent years, it didn't feel different at all. It felt like
yeah,
kind of the same old, same old.
yeah. That's the big thing with Opera is it's like now that it's Chromium based and like a more slimmed down version, it kind of becomes like okay, what I'm not sure what the niche is that it's filling. You know, it's not really it's not particularly privacy centric. It's not particularly performant. Uh, I don't really know what Opera's trying to do. One thing about Opera is that there's like multiple different uh, like distributions of Opera. I guess you could say like there's Opera Air and there's Opera GX. Opera GX I used for a while, but it's only on Windows. So that was out for me on this. The cool thing about Opera GX, which is like it's like a gamer browser, it's kind of silly, but it has this really cool sidebar feature, like this sidebar that opens and it allows you to like um, you can like clear the cache and restrict memory and do a bunch of like configurations like resource management stuff right there in the browser on the sidebar.
That's kind of
And
slick.
it was really cool, like as a developer, right, to be able to just clear my cache, hard reload just with a button that's right there. Um, but that's only on Windows. So the controversy around Opera is that it got sold and now it's under management by some Chinese company. And I feel like our international listeners are going to be like, okay, so, but if you live in America, this is like a big deal. That's something Chinese.
Yeah.
Uh, and so this one got weird for me because I can't find. There's a lot of like comments online of people saying like, "Oh, Opera's run by the government, the Chinese government, or whatever." And I couldn't really find anything really corroborating that. It seems like that's more just like conjecture. Um, if I go back to that guy wrote a hit piece on Opera as well, so we can look at that. They're bloated web browsers, and the company behind them has tried to cover up its controversies. So there's a little bit of history. The Hindenburg report outlining alleged fraud and illegal activities of Opera. Hindenburg alleged that when Opera browser continued losing users and the company shifted gears to building mobile apps that provided predatory short-term loans, the interest rates on these loans ranged from I don't know. I don't know if this stuff like I mean there's links here. You see, this is what I was trying to say. Like, am I in too deep right now? Like, you know, I feel like I'm you know I've got like a cork board with like red yarn pinned. Like, you know what am I doing here? Right? We're talking about
Hey,
browsers.
Sylvia. Yeah.
Am I crazy or is this
Uh,
legit?
I mean, I'd have to read through it. When did it get sold, though? How long has it been under control of someone?
I saw. I don't know if that's in this article. I want to say like 2014, something like that. But they switched. They switched to WebKit in 2013. But then, okay, the remains of the original Opera software rebranded to Otello Corporation in 2017, which is now just a holding company for some advertising companies. The new group is currently known as Opera Limited and has been publicly traded since mid 2018 under the ticker symbol Opera.
Okay. So I guess my main question was like, did this have something to do with the switch to Chromium and Blink and all that? But it doesn't. They switched first and then later it was sold, right?
Yeah, and I don't really know why this happened, but then like people say, like it's still the office is still in Norway, but it's just owned by this like Chinese company, which allegedly means that the Chinese government can like dictate what they do and look at all their stuff. I don't know. I think the real thing for me is that I just kind of looked at opera and still I didn't really understand what it was trying to be, what it was trying to do, and then I looked at what was it called, the Cover Your Tracks website, and opera was like not very secure. So I was like, okay, let's just. I'm not necessarily against opera, but let's keep looking around.
It was a much more. I mean, I think opera is one of the really like sad stories about this story that we've been talking about consolidation of the different engines, right? Everybody's switching to Chromium except for Firefox, basically, and like Opera was one of those. I mean, they had their own rendering engine and a kind of like small but dedicated base of users, and at some point they were just like, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep updating our own rendering engine. They basically said Chromium 1, we're going to switch over to Chromium. And that's like, I don't know. That's one of the real like failures of alternatives, you know?
Yeah, it's sad.
It's unfortunate.
And opera just isn't what it used to be at all. Like you said, opera's thing was it used to have like all these crazy features and stuff, and that's just like not what it is now.
Yeah, I remember using it back in the day, like talking about like 2000 or something like that. And it was, I remember they had, you know, things that seem really normal by today's standards, but like I seem to remember they were the first ones to have the they called it speed dial, but it was just like,
oh yeah,
open a new window. Now you have your sites that you frequently visit, and you can just jump right to them.
Yeah, the speed dial is still there.
That was kind of a big, interesting idea at the time.
Yeah, speed dial is cool.
I don't think you're in too deep, man. I think you chase what you love. Do you are you having fun? Are you like, do you have fun switching browsers, or do you feel like it's a chore?
Well, no, I do have fun switching browsers, but I feel like when I start reading about like the early life of a CEO, I'm like, what am I doing here? And it really is kind of like the clothing brand sweatshop thing, right? It's like, everybody's got stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if maybe opposite to what I said earlier, I think if you're willing to put the time in, then like, yeah, you should vote with your dollar based on that stuff, right? Like if there are other options, maybe is the way to say it, then yeah.
Okay,
but
so
I think it's hard to find an option that doesn't have some skeletons in the closet. Maybe I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I read about Epic Browser and I read about Tempest Browser. Neither of those are available on Linux, so I can't really say anything about them. I didn't install them.
Okay. I didn't come across those.
I did just like, so I said I only wanted to use a Chromium-based browser, but I did go ahead and install LibreWolf, and it is great. It checks all the boxes except the Chromium thing, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
It's privacy centric. There's nothing like weird about it.
So that's a modern fork of Firefox, right? It's Firefox with all the Mozilla stuff stripped out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a privacy centric, non-Mozilla-y Firefox fork. And so I guess we should bring up, like, at the time of the recording, there was recently a little bit of controversy around Firefox and some of the terms of service changes. And there was something I saw in the news, like, or somebody left a comment on the LibreWolf page. They're like, are you prepared to do like a full fork and manage a complete separate hard fork of Firefox? And the LibreWolf people responded like, no, not at all. We can't do that. We're not going to be able to do that. We're just going to, manage this like soft fork that has the Mozilla stuff taken out. Like, that's all we have the capacity to do.
I found myself kind of wondering that about that while we were prepping for this episode. What? I mean, the Mozilla terms of use changes, which kind of like kicked off our discussion about this, they were pretty bad, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. But most of that had to do with like being unclear about data that was passing through Firefox the ownership of it. Did Mozilla somehow like own the image that you upload to some website and stuff like that?
Yeah.
If LibreWolf doesn't abide by the Firefox terms of use, is there any real threat there? Is there any real threat that like Mozilla's and Firefox's terms of use are going to apply to forks of Firefox? I don't know how that works.
I know we talked about software licenses before, and I know that Firefox is an MPL, Mozilla Public License, which I think is pretty permissive. If you wanted to manage a fork, that's a good question. I don't really know how like stuck to that things like LibreWolf and Florp would be.
I'm just not I'm not understanding in my head how LibreWolf would be on the hook for some of the like really damning stuff in the terms of use change if that stuff applied to Mozilla the company, which LibreWolf is separate from. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know what I mean. I don't know. And I mean, honestly, I don't think Mozilla wants to steal all your images you're uploading, right?
No.
Like, I think that was just like a really poorly thought out, really worded thing that they changed, probably for some legal edge case kind of thing, It's weird. Firefox comes under a lot of flack. And this is kind of what I mean. Like, you can end up really deep in the browser thing, right? You'll see people on the browser subreddit talking about like Mozilla is just they're all left wing. They're all all this whatever. They have Pocket. You have to install Pocket in the browser. Like, I think Firefox is pretty good. Like, I think they're a pretty good solution for most people. That being said, they're not for me because of just some of the personal things for me that I want a Chromium-based browser and this sort of thing. I think if those things bother you, then use LibreWolf. I almost feel like there's like a flow chart, right? Like at the top, it's like, do you care about stuff? No, just use Chrome.
Yeah.
Do you care about stuff? Okay, depending on what you care about, you can use Brave, or you can use LibreWolf, or Firefox, or Florp. Honestly, I have a hard time really telling the difference between Florp and LibreWolf. From what I've read, it's more just Florp is less crazy about the privacy stuff, a little bit more about the feature-rich stuff. I've used them both, but like, I don't know. As much of a browser hopper as I am, I guess I'm not really that much of a like super user.
I want to talk about that real quick. It's worth noting Firefox did walk back some of those changes. So
yeah,
they made those terrible changes. Then there was a lot of pushback, and they walked some of it back. So just wanted to make that clear. But man, I want to touch on that real quick about being a super user, because that was my feeling trying all these browsers and stuff. It's the first time in many years I've like really experimented and kind of seen what's out there with browsers. I'm really struggling to figure out like what people are doing with their browsers that is not sufficient. So like, yeah, let's put aside ethical concerns for a minute. Privacy concerns still a very real thing. But like, do people have extensions that aren't working that like they really prefer one browser over the other? For the most part, I kind of feel like any browser will get you there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like 95% of users just want to like go to websites,
Yeah.
And all these browsers we've talked about, they have bookmarks, they have history, they have tabs. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, everything that you need to do is there on everything we've talked about. And I'm really not a power user, as much of a nerd as I am.
So what is like? What's the feeling you get when you're using a browser and you're like, I think I'm gonna switch browsers. I'm not digging this. Like, what is it that comes up that it makes you want to switch browser?
Well, it's mostly the ethical stuff,
Okay.
and that's like why I've said, okay, I'm not going to use this anymore. I'm going to use this now. But also, like, different UI. I will say, okay, there was a time where I was hopping around a lot because I kept having like this was on my Mac in like 2016, and you've seen the memes about like Chrome running on a Mac, taking all the RAM and stuff. That was a real issue I was having, and so I think that was when I switched to Firefox. I don't remember, but I've had stuff like that where like performance issues with certain browsers. But in looking at this, I had performance features. Everything's pretty much good. Like there's a few features I've seen on browsers that I thought were really cool that I wish other browsers had. Like Opera and Brave both have a built-in VPN, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
Like you don't have to sign up or anything. You can just turn the VPN off and on. Like that's cool. And then the Opera GX thing I was talking about, where you can just clear your cache, turn it off. That's cool.
That seems really cool. Yeah.
Other than that, like I also don't use a lot of extensions. I use the Kagi extension. I use AdBlock. I have React Dev Tools installed and Bitwarden. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about these bundled things because these are this is really part of the selling point for some browsers. Vivaldi has like a built-in email client, and built-in calendar, right? And built-in VPN, built-in password manager. Maybe I'm weird like this, but I prefer to kind of have these things separate. Like I don't want my browser to be the source of everything. I would almost rather install a VPN separately and know exactly who I'm giving my money to and like trust their trust some company that's VPN specific, and I would rather have my email client over here, not necessarily embedded in my browser. I don't know. Am I weird like that?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and spoiler alert, or I guess we're almost at the end of the episode. The big reveal is I've been using Vivaldi. I'm a Vivaldi guy. And here's the thing. I 100% agree. Like, you install Vivaldi. Let me see if I can get like a new profile going real quick, or if I don't know if that's going to mess up our recording. Wait, where do I manage my? I thought there was a. I thought there was. This is the thing about Vivaldi. Is like there's so much shit, dude. You don't know. Okay, yeah. Vivaldi has. When you first install it, you're going to open it and you're going to look at it and you're going to say, this thing is ugly. And this thing has so much shit. Like there's stuff along the side, there's stuff along the bottom, there's doohickeys, there's all, you open the settings, there's all these options. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's so, like I said, like that's what I love about Brave, right? Is I install it and I'm in and I'm going, right? I think like if it wasn't for the ethical concerns, I think I would be a Brave user. Because of that, I'm a Vivaldi user, but from a design standpoint, I absolutely disagree with like a lot of this, right? I don't want my email in here. I don't want my calendar in here. Like, let me just share my window right now. Like, I have done. Well, actually, hang on. Let me open a new tab. No, this is good. Okay. I have done a lot to try to make this like.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. I showed everybody our. There's nothing in here that I don't want our users to see, right? Now we're good. Like I've done a lot to make this look better, and it's still like this right here blows my mind. Okay, in the bottom right corner right here, why do I have a clock in my browser?
Yeah.
Is that like my operating system has a clock?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why do I? I mean, it has an alarm. It has this. People like this. I think the Pomodoro thing. You can like pause. You can like pause the browser. I'm taking a break right now. Maybe this is cool to someone. I don't know, but like, what is all this? What? There's a screenshot thing. I can like take a screenshot in here. There's these CSS options. I didn't turn this on. These are just on. I found out the option to hide this so it's not in my face all the time. There's this whole sidebar. I turned off most of these things because this is like where the calendar and stuff lives. It's like there's a translate thing over here. This is insane.
A
Like,
built-in translation button, yeah.
this is nut. Like, this is just ridiculous. And I go to the settings. There's so much stuff. I went through and I like tweaked all this to get this thing to be freaking usable. Mail, calendar, RSS feeds make sense. I think that makes sense. But then here's the thing. Okay, I got in there. I start tweaking stuff, and I keep tweaking stuff, and I keep tweaking stuff, and then I'm installing all these different themes. Like I have this Nord theme, and then I've got let me share again.
Nord browser theme. I'm listening.
Yeah, there's all these different themes, which reminds me of the good old days of Firefox. Like I don't know if you ever did that, but I remember when I first installed Firefox, I was like, I installed like blood, metal, like stuff like this, like the cyberpunk theme.
Yep, I remember doing that back in the day.
Yeah, dude. There's like anime themes. There's what is this?
Spooky graveyard.
Yeah, like I found a Nord theme that was pretty non-invasive and not annoying. But there's all this. Here's a really cool feature, actually. I think this is legitimately cool. I hit Control E, and I have this command palette. So I can come in here and I can say, like I was talking about, it's not hard. It's reload, force page reload. So that does a full cache refresh reload.
Oh man, I love that so much.
New private window. I can just do that. If you forget anything, any of your key bindings, let's open my my dev tools, toggle developer tools. If you forget the key binding for whatever reason.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That was one of my things, man. I was going through this and I was like, I don't even know like what I would want to add to a browser. And then I was like, one thing is I would like to be able to navigate more with the keyboard. I know that browsers are kind of inherently point and click based, GUI, but like I would like to be able to maybe jump to a tab by typing part of its name or something. And it looks like that's kind of what that is.
I think there's an extension that does that too, actually.
I figured there's got to be something else out there. And I know that I used to have this many, many years ago, I had like a Firefox Vim extension where it was like, it had Vim commands that were
kind of,
I don't know, built into Firefox so you could do a lot of it. But yeah. I love that. I'm going to experiment with that command palette.
Now, I thought there was a way to like make a new profile. Okay, if I create or I have to create a whole new account. I thought there was a way to like make a new profile, and that would like reset everything, so I could show you what it looks like when you first install. I could have sworn I saw that. Like profile. Oh, manage profiles. Let's go. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here we go. Add. Okay. Are you seeing this? No, this is a different window.
Yeah, I'm in your themes.
Okay. Sorry. How do I get back to... I'm going to share this. We're in a vortex. All right. Let me share this. So this is what you see when you first install Vivaldi. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit.
It's not as bad as I was expecting.
Okay.
But you do have... So you have multiple header bars.
Yeah.
Sidebar, you got... Yeah. I know what you mean. There's a lot going on there.
We got this. Okay, so there's this is Vivaldi Social. This is the Mastodon Vivaldi thing. I've got Wikipedia. That's cool. These are still here. One thing about this bothers me more than it probably should. I have this cloud down here in the bottom left next to the pause button, and then I have this cloud up here in the upper right next to the trash can button, and they do different things.
That is.
So this one opens the sync like settings. The one in the upper right allows me to manage. Like I can log in and create a like they're the same icon and they do different things. That's where it's like this is a UI decision that I would be in a meeting like fighting against really hard.
Absolutely.
Like,
that's very confusing.
So it takes work to get from this to what I showed you earlier, but I think it's worth it.
And very, very customizable, right? You can change all that so that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was reading about Vivaldi. Is supposed to be like just crazy customizable. So maybe.
Yeah, it's incredibly customizable. Honestly, like I can put my tabs on the left-hand side. I can put them on the right-hand side. I can put them on the bottom. I can change which one gets opened when I close one. So like it activates in a recently used order, or they can just go to the next left one, or to the next right one. Stuff you expect. There's like tab grouping. It's nuts. Let me try and show you some of the more unique stuff. Like this, I think I have to have multiple tabs open for this to work. Let me open something. Let me open Amazon and this. I can click this little button, page tiling. And so now I've got my tabs next to each other. If you care about this.
No, that's kind of slick. I like that. I mean, that happens sometimes where I'll like
do a grid.
Basically I drag a tab out to its own window and put two windows side by side. It'd be kind of nice to have two tabs side by side within the browser.
I mean, I don't do this, but there's something, it's just, I have very mixed feelings. Stop talking. Hey. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I just have very mixed feelings about Vivaldi. I mean, it's what I'm using now. I feel like I'm in a good spot with it. I still think it is a little clunky to use. Like, it's not like a performance thing, but just, I don't know. The UI is not super nice and snappy. See what else.
How did it rate on privacy out of the box?
If you turn on, so out of the box, not good. But if you turn on like the ad tracking, I keep saying that wrong. Ad blocking and tracker blocking, it's pretty good. And I also have uBlock installed.
The tracker blocking and ad blocking are built into Vivaldi?
Yeah, they have a built-in one. The built-in ad blocking is not great, so you're going to want an extension as well. But I went in there and then I tweaked all the privacy settings and stuff too, and it's pretty good now.
Nice.
The only controversy around Vivaldi is that it's not open source. This is a big deal breaker for some people. And so it's like, Chromium is open source, but the UI, basically the stuff that makes it Vivaldi, is closed source. And there are some people that won't use Vivaldi because of this. That to me, I think, is too deep. I think you're too far in to the browser stuff at that point.
So just to make sure I have my history right here, Vivaldi is a fork of Opera. It seemed like the controversy there came from that when Opera started using Blink for its rendering engine, but Vivaldi also uses Blink.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The origins of Vivaldi was that, yeah, but now it's also Chromium based, yeah.
Okay.
So really, the difference is that it's not Chinese. But also, the design philosophies are very different, right? I didn't open Opera, but I can show you Opera. And this is like, I haven't done anything to it. Opera is, this is very different looking, This is a very Chrome-like experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Got a little VPN button. I think that's cool. I read someone was saying that the VPN is like not really a VPN. It's more just like it just like forwards you somewhere. Like so
Oh,
you just appear like you're somewhere else, but you're not really protected at all.
oh, hmm.
Um,
It's
yeah, this is
kind
what Opera looks like.
of crappy to like market it as a VPN if it's not really doing that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also
Um,
installed and test drove Vivaldi, and I really really liked it. Um, yeah, I'm going to spend more time with that, more time customizing, like you said. Um, but I like that one a lot.
um, I also installed Pale Moon. I kind of hated it immediately. I mean, it feels like it's from like the 1990s. You know, I'm
Yeah,
not really sure why. Why do people use it? Why do they use it?
I don't
What's the
know.
history of Pale Moon actually?
I'm not sure who it's for. So Pale Moon uses a rendering engine called Goanna, which is a fork of like a much earlier version of Gecko. And yeah, it has real like 2000 Netscape 6 kind of vibes. Um, and I think, yeah, from what I was reading, they don't care so much about being modern and being compatible with the modern web. I don't know if it's like for people who want a nostalgia hit or what, but it, yeah, it looks like an old browser.
Yeah, and I don't really remember, but I think I was having issues with it too. Like it wasn't loading stuff right or something. I don't know. Okay.
I had some pages that it wouldn't load, and there's another one called Basilisk or something
Oh,
that's
I heard of that. I didn't look at it though.
kind of in the same vein of. I think it's supposed to be a little more modern than Pale Moon.
Okay, I'm looking at a thread of why people use Pale Moon, and they're just like, I just like it.
Hmm.
It just feels nice. I like it. It's cozy because
Did
it's
you try?
pretty.
Did you try Servo?
No, I thought Servo was like a an engine. Isn't Servo like the browser engine?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of thought that's. I guess I have that wrong. I think you're right though. I think Servo's the engine. It's not really a browser, and but there is something you can download and use to like go to web pages. It's not very functional though.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's just like a really lightweight browser. Okay, I'm almost out of time. I almost got to go. So I don't think we're going to do Whose Side Are You On today. But I did want to say that I did build Ladybird, and it is just completely not ready yet,
Okay.
which is fine because they're open about that, right? They say it's alpha. But yeah, like it's none of the features are there yet. Like, let me see. Um, and I feel bad saying that because I'm not trying to dog on it, right? Like I think Ladybird is like, if this is a successful project, it's exactly what I'm going to jump to, right? Like
Yeah.
uh, a whole new thing. I mean, it'll probably have tons of issues of not rendering stuff right for a long time, but there's like you open it, there's like no homepage. I think searching, yeah, okay, like let me share this real quick. Like if I just like type in something like junk, it just goes to warning failed to load HTTPS junk unable to resolve host, and then the settings. That's not the settings. There's like barely any settings. How did I get there? Was it? I thought it was here. Oh, there we go. Edit settings. This is the settings menu.
I can't see that on the screen share.
Oh shit. Well, it's basically nothing. There's like 7 items here, and I don't think a lot of them work. Like supposedly I can set the search engine, but I can't really. I mean, it is like if I go www.youtube.com, it's even auto completing here. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, this is very much like a work in progress. Is this okay? Yeah, okay. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not there yet.
I think that's. I mean, that's really like when we talk about this consolidation and stuff. The main reason for it is that making a browser engine is really, really, really hard and really, really complicated, and it takes a really
Yeah,
long time and a lot of money and resources. And I think not just to develop it, but to like keep it maintained and keep up with web standards. Like this isn't something you just like code once and then forget about it. It's like the web is constantly evolving. The standards are constantly evolving, and you got to keep up with other browsers, keep up with what users are doing.
Yeah.
It's tough, and there's a reason that people have mostly decided to use Chromium.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking to make a browser from scratch. But I wish them the best.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to trying it.
I want more.
He's dedicated.
I want more browsers. But until then, I'm going to be a Vivaldi user, I think. Until I have something that like doesn't work on it that makes me just never use it again. Or something.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to try the same. I'm going to try Vivaldi for a while, see how it goes. I suspect that for what I do, I doubt I'll even notice a difference between that and Chrome or Firefox, you know?
You will when you open that command palette.
That's true. One last thing real quick. Do you use syncing profiles at all? Do you like sync your bookmarks between platforms?
I just started doing that.
Okay.
I never used to do that, but Vivaldi is like really big on that. They're like, hey, you can sync everything. So I've been doing that. But I'm new to this.
Let me know how that goes, because I don't do that, and I feel like that's a big selling point for a lot of browsers is that you can do that.
Yeah. I'm a little confused by it, honestly. Like, it seems like, because like, okay, on this computer, I've got Nord theme installed. I guess the theme isn't synced because I have a different theme on my other computer. Which is like one of the main things. I want everything to look the same.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, my bookmarks are synced. How about that?
I might try that. I haven't tried that yet. All right, that's some good stuff. First time in a long time I've tried out some new browsers. I really like that, and I might keep trying out some more.
Well, with that, I will leave you with. I'm trying to find what is Vivaldi's catchphrase. The only web browser powerful enough for you.
1X Developer Podcast.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. This is Collin. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of the 1X Developer Podcast, and let you know that if you have any questions, comments, or if you just want to tell us about your day, you can reach us at X, formerly known as Twitter, at 1X Developer Podcast. We're also on YouTube at 1X Developer Podcast. You can email us if you're weird at 1xdeveloperpodcast at protonmail.com. And lastly, don't forget to follow, subscribe, all that stuff, so you don't miss any further episodes of the 1X Developer Podcast. Thanks so much. See you next time. Thank you.